Welcome back, students. So we were discussing the same chapter, Socialism in Europe and Russian Revolution, grade 9th. So now the topic which we have to discuss is making a socialist society. So this is a topic which we have to discuss now. But before that, let me tell you whatever we have completed till now, what we have done in this chapter. So we started with defining socialism. After definition of socialism, we have seen the history of socialism, from where this event started. So it started from the French Revolution. The change, the possibility of change started from French Revolution of 1789. Then we have seen the definition of change varied across the Europe. Different groups were there, different political traditions and ideologies were there. So we have seen the ideologies of liberals, radicals and conservatives. After that, we have seen the industrial society and social change. In this, we have seen with industrialization and urbanization what kind of problems were faced by the workers and what were the solutions given by liberals and radicals for this problems. Then after that, we talked about coming of socialism to Europe. In this, we talked about different socialists, their vision about the socialist society in future. Here we talked about Robert Onufs, then Louis Blanc, and ideology of Karl Marx. And according to the Karl Marx has given altogether a different ideology, that in order to establish socialism, the capitalist economy need to be overthrown by the workers. So after this, we have seen the support for socialism in Europe. So in support for socialism, we have seen there was a growth in the number of associations and organizations. We have seen the formation of Second International, then in other countries of Europe also, socialist parties and other organizations to help the members were being set up. So the main aim of these organizations we have seen is to fight for the cause of the workers, for their better living condition, for their better wages and for reduced working hours, and of course to help them in distress whenever any financial need is there. After that, we went to the another part of this chapter, that is the Russian Revolution. In Russian Revolution, we have seen the Russian Empire in 1914, who was the Tsar. So after Russian economy and society, we discussed socialism in Russia. In this, we have seen the creation of Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, which was formed in 1898, and then the split we have seen of the same party in 1903 in two factions, that is Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. So after this, we have seen what was the impact of the, after this we have seen the 1905 revolution, that is the Bloody Sunday, and we have seen the impact of these revolutions on Russia. And then we have seen the First World War and its impact, its relation with Russia. Then we have seen the February Revolution, 1917. Then what was the change, what changes came after the February Revolution, then why the October Revolution happened, and what changes came after the October Revolution. Then we have seen the period of civil war in Russia, that is the period from November 1917 to November 1922. And civil war was basically a war between reds versus greens and whites. Reds were your Bolsheviks, greens were your socialist revolutionaries, and whites the supporters of Tsar. So we have seen what happened during the civil war in Russia. The whites and all, they were doing cruelties on the peasants, so they lost the support of the Russian people. On the other hand, this Bolsheviks, they got the support from non-Russian nationalities as well as from the Muslim reformers also. So as a result, finally there was creation of USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, by the Bolsheviks in December 1922. So now we are moving towards making a socialist society. So Bolsheviks, they have created USSR, now they are moving towards making of a socialist society. So now Bolsheviks kept industries, banks nationalized during civil war also. So this is very must in order to establish socialism. Government regulation is very must. So that's why the Bolsheviks, they kept industries and banks under the government control, that is they nationalized the in November 1917 only. After the October Revolution, this step was taken by Lenin. So Bolsheviks kept industries, banks nationalized during the civil war. So the Bolsheviks, they permitted the peasants to cultivate the land that has been socialized. That had been socialized, so they can cultivate this land. So the Bolsheviks, they use the confiscated land to demonstrate what the collective work could be. So the peasants, they worked collectively on the confiscated lands, and then the profit or output was divided accordingly according to the needs of the family. After that, the process of centralized planning was introduced. So again, in a phased manner, the targets were set, and the government regulated the planning process also very strictly. And in a phased manner, in the 5-year plans, the planning process was introduced. First 5-year plan was introduced in 1927 to 32, and this was the second 5-year plan, 1933 to 1938. So in a phased manner, they started their planning process, the development process. So as a result, huge industrial growth was seen. Infrastructure creation was there. New factories, new industries were being set up. Industrialization process was on the peak. After the planned economy was launched, and the 5-year plans were introduced. So as a result, new factories were coming up. So as industrialization happened, the urbanization happened, and many other problems was also accompanied by this phenomena. So now the rapid pace of industrialization we have seen, but it had a darker side also to it. So what were the repercussions? So dark side, rapid construction led to the poor working condition. Okay, so all the focus was on the growth only, and no one was taking care of the working conditions and the living conditions of the workers. So the workers, they lived very hard lives. Okay, means it was not that the facilities were not given to them. Okay, no facilities were provided to them. So like when the temperature was reduced to -40, at that time also the workers, they need to go to the washroom. They have to come down from the 4th floor to the ground floor, and then they need to cross the street, and then they can use the washroom there. So this was the condition, means hard lives they were living. Frequent stoppages were seen. So during the work, like 550 stoppages were seen at the work in the first 5-year of 5-year plan alone. So this slowly they were moving towards a socialist society. So we have seen in the making of a socialist society, we have seen earlier that the rapid industrialization posed many problems for the workers. Living conditions were not proper, their working conditions were not proper, and they were living a very hard life. Stoppages we have seen, frequent stoppages we have seen. So what kind of steps were taken, or what efforts were made by the government in order to improve the conditions of these workers? So first of all, an extended schooling system for the workers and peasants was introduced. So the aim was to provide education to all. So keeping this in mind, the Bolsheviks, what they did, they introduced the extended schooling system for peasants and workers, so that they should also uplift them, and they should also have access to the education. So the extended schooling system, after work they can go and have access to education in these kind of systems. Then after that, crèches were established in the factories for the children of the women workers. Okay, so this kind of facility was provided to the women workers, that the crèches are there in the work premises only, in the factories only, which will take care of their children. Then after that, cheap public health care facilities were provided. So this is must for the people to support them medically, to provide them cheap medical health care facilities. Then the model living quarters. So we have seen what kind of problems they were facing when the harsh weather conditions were there, when the temperature drops down to -40, then the washroom was out and it was very difficult for the workers to go there, and now the modern living quarters were set up for the workers with proper facilities. So the impact of all these efforts was limited. Okay, why limited? Because the resources of the government was limited. These many resources were not there, so that's why the limited impact was seen of all these efforts which were taken by the government. Now, after making a socialist society, the next topic which we have to cover is Stalinism and collectivization. So, Stalinism and collectivization. So, first of all, let's see who was Joseph Stalin. So, after the death of Lenin in 1924, the leader who took the command of USSR was Stalin. So, after Lenin, who came to handle USSR? Stalin. So, he was Joseph Stalin. So the Stalinism, now let's define Stalinism. So the time period when Russian Communist Party was headed by Stalin. So that time period came to be known as Stalinism, and his ideas dominated the USSR, and that period came to be known as Stalinism. When his ideas, his ideology dominated the politics of USSR, that period came to be known as Stalinism. He introduced, what kind of ideology he was having? He introduced very firm emergency measures, very strict emergency measures, and collectivization of agriculture was one of them. So very strict measures he has taken, very firm measure he has taken with determination in order to boost the economic growth, in order to convert the agrarian economy of Russia into the superpower that is USSR. Then what is the meaning of collectivization here? Means combining of land of various farmers and then performing the agriculture activities on collective basis so as to increase the output. So that's why he went for the collectivization of agriculture, in order to boost the output, in order to increase the output. So this was Stalinism and collectivization of agriculture. Now the collectivization of agriculture, why it was done, why the output was less, how it was done. So this we will see now. We will in detail we will see that how the collectivization of agriculture was done by Stalin. So we discussed about Stalin, that he took very firm emergency measures, and one of them in order to promote the high economic growth, and one of them was collectivization of agriculture, that is collectively cultivating the land of various farmers, combining the land and then performing the agricultural activities. So now why he has done that, reasons for the collectivization, because by 1927 the Soviet Russia was facing the food shortages, especially in towns. So by 1927 in Soviet Russia this problem was faced, food shortages were there, especially in towns this problem was faced. Now to solve this problem, what government did? They fixed the prices of the food grain, that every farmer has to come to the city and they have to sell their produce at the fixed prices. But now peasants and farmers, they refuse to sell their produce at the fixed prices. So they simply refuse that we are not going to sell at the fixed prices. Now Stalin believed that kulaks, that is well-to-do peasants in Russia, and traders, they were holding the stocks in anticipation of high prices, that later on the prices will be increased, so we will release our supply later on. So that's why they were holding their stocks. So as a result, raids were done, but still after the raids the shortage still continues. So now after this comes the another argument for the shortage of food grain, that why there is a shortage of food grain. Everything we have done, we have fixed the prices, peasants were not ready to sell at the fixed price, then we have done the raids also, and still the shortage continues. Now the another argument comes, small size of the land holding, that this is the main reason why the food grain shortages are there, because of the fragmented land holding or the small size of the land holding, because from the small size of land holding the output also will be very less, and the small farms can't be modernized also. No machinery, no modern farming methods can be implemented on small plots or on the small size of land. So to modernize farms, in order to increase the output, now what can be done? So the need was to eliminate kulaks. Who were kulak? The well-to-do peasants of Russia. Eliminate kulak means take the lands from the kulak and establish kolkhos. What is the meaning of kolkhos? Collective farms, which will be large farms controlled by the state. So this is the solution given for the shortage of food grains, that we have to eliminate kulaks, we have to take the land collectively, we have to combine the land, consolidation of land holding should be there in order to increase the output. So eliminate kulaks and then establish kolkhos, that is the large farms, collective farms controlled by the state. So we have seen the collectivization of agriculture, how it will be done. They will eliminate the kulaks and they will establish the kolkhos. So now what kind of problems were seen due to collectivization and the problems of collectivization? That from 1929 onwards, peasants were forced to cultivate in kolkhos. No option left with them. They have to work in the collective farms, the large farms which were controlled by the state, and profit was shared. So whatever according to the work done, the profit was shared. So peasants were very angry. They were very angry. They don't want to work in kolkhos and they destroyed their livestock. So this is how they were taking out their frustration. Then whosoever resisted collectivization measure of Stalin, they were punished, and many were deported and sent out of the country also and exiled also. So whosoever resisted and raised their voice, they have to face the repercussions also. Despite collectivization, so whatever measures were taken, there was no increase in the production. Why? Because you can't win over the nature. You can't play with the nature. So due to the bad harvest, from 1930 to 33, there was no increase in the production. Rather, this led to devastating famines. Okay, so there was shortage of food was felt badly due to the bad harvest. So these were some of the problems of collectivization. So we have seen the criticism was done of the planned economy and this collectivization of agriculture. Strict controls we have seen of Stalin. So we have seen the criticism, people were criticizing, and those who raised their voice, they were also severely punished. Labor camps were there, they were sent to the labor camps and they were imprisoned also. So we have seen that in USSR, if the controls were very severe, strict controls were there of the planned economy and for collectivization, and if anyone raises a voice, they have to face the action of the government. So now the last topic of the chapter which we have to discuss is the global influence of the Russian Revolution and the USSR. That what influence globally the Russian Revolution have on the other countries of the world, and the creation of USSR, how it affected, what kind of effect was felt by the creation of USSR on other countries of the world, and the global impact we have to study now. So various socialist parties throughout the Europe, they criticize the Bolshevik action. So they criticize how they came to power and what kind of strict measures they have taken, how they have done the development by taking the strict measures, by taking the repressive measures. So other socialist parties, they criticize or they put the question mark on the working of the Bolshevik party. So worker state, but still the worker state, that this idea that the state will be formed by the workers and everything will be controlled by the worker and all the means of production will be controlled by society as a whole. So this idea caught the fancy of the people, that is people's attention. It attracted that there will be a creation of the worker state, that there is a possibility we can create a worker state. Many communist parties were formed throughout the world, like for example the Communist Party of Great Britain. So getting inspiration from USSR, in other parts of the Europe also, different communist parties were being set up, like the Communist Party of Great Britain. Bolshevik encouraged the colonial people also to get rid of the exploitation they were having or they were facing from the colonial powers. So they encouraged the colonial people to follow their experiment and to throw away the capitalist economy and to establish the socialist economy or the socialist system. Now various conferences were organized in USSR, like Conference of the Peoples of East in 1920. So to spread the idea of socialism, many conferences were organized in USSR, like one important of them was in 1920, the Conference of the People of East. Many associations were also being formed in order to spread the idea of the socialism, like Bolsheviks formed Comintern, an international union of pro-Bolshevik socialist parties. So these efforts they were doing in order to spread their idea. But by the Second World War, that is the period of 1939 to 1945, USSR had given socialism a global face and the world stature. So world reputation they have earned, and they have given socialism a global face by the Second World War. And due to the strict measures of Stalin, whatever strict measure he has taken, the tough decision, the firm emergency measure he has taken of planned economy, of collectivization of agriculture, we have seen the backward economy, the agrarian economy like Russia, they moved and they become a great superpower. So this we have seen that the backward economy was transformed to a great superpower because of the firm measures which were taken by their leaders. But still the criticism was there. So what criticism? That this Bolsheviks and the leaders, the socialist leader, they denied the basic freedom to its citizens. Like we have seen the Bolshevik, they encouraged the censorship also. Then we have seen the development was done through repressive policies. Whatever measures were taken, if any, it was done through repressive policies, and if anyone raises a voice, they were suppressed also, and action was taken against them. So by the end of the 20th century, the international reputation of USSR as a socialist country had declined. However, the socialist ideal still enjoyed a respect among its people. That is all with the discussion of your chapter, that is grade 9th, chapter 2, history, socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. For any query, please feel free to ask. Thank you.